One more thing. The best thing that happened to these Mavericks was missing the playoffs last year. I'll tell you why. Right now.
I'm here because I have to be.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machines.
I'm tired as hell.
You can rest later. You're young.
I need a recovery beer.
Wait. One more thing.
Yeah. Welcome. You're still locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and your best friend covering the Dallas Mavericks on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. They'll help you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedinjobs.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. The one more thing today. The best thing to happen to the Dallas Mavericks, these Dallas Mavericks, is missing the playoffs last year. I'm going to convince you I got 4 things. So it's really 4 more things. But the one more thing is that missing the postseason was the best thing to happen to him. And I'm going to start with this. Kyrie Irving, talked about him yesterday, talked about him after game 1 when they beat the Timberwolves. And he talked to the TNT guys after the game. And he said a quote that I found so fascinating. I can't play it because of rights purposes, but I can read it to you, and I think that it's worth me reading it. So follow me on this. Kyrie Irving said this. You can watch the interview if you want to, but he said he was asked what helped him grow in leadership this season, because he absolutely has. He's grown as a leader this season in ways that we didn't see in Brooklyn, that we didn't really see in Boston, that we absolutely didn't see with the Cavs when he was younger in his career. But Kyrie has stepped up as a leader, and missing the playoffs last year was one of the reasons why he stepped up, because he said this. Last summer, we got exited from playoff contention. Watching my peers go for a chance at the Golden Trophy, man, you get motivations from failure. You get inspired. And I was watching the playoffs from home, taking little notes on some of the best leaders in this league. Guys that are really the backbone of their team. They do the little things that show up in the stat sheet, that don't show up in the stat sheet for their teams to win. This year, I focused on doing the little things. And if my points came, they came. But I wanted to make sure that we felt good as a team after every single game. And we got to be honest with each other. We had a lot of long meetings. Sometimes it felt like therapy. Getting guys to talk, getting males to talk in a competitive sport is hard sometimes. We have a good gelling group. Then we had the crucial trade in the middle of the season. We got PJ and Gaff, and then from there the sky's the limit. Once I saw we had a chance, I was like, well, I'm not going to take this for granted. So every single day, I remind these guys what it's like to fail, what it's like to get to the mountaintop, be very close, and fail. So for me, I use that as motivation. Whew. I don't know about you, but I get goosebumps just reading that. But hearing that Kyrie used last season when the Mavs missed the playoffs, an absolute abject disaster of a season, missing the entire postseason with a top 5 player. Barely ever happens. But they did. He used it as motivation, and Kyrie used it as motivation to become a better leader, to become the player that he is now. What have we talked about all season with Kyrie? He'll go on a run at some point. He'll get his points, and it'll come. They need him to score more. They need him to be more aggressive, a little bit more here and there. But there's always the but. But he's been doing all these other things. But he's been helping the Mavs in a bunch of different ways. But he got 11 assists. But he got 4 steals. But he got 3 blocks. But he got 2 huge rebounds when they really mattered. Kyrie backed up his talk. In this. Everything he said in there, I think, is correct. He took notes. He learned. He went back to the drawing board and said, where can I be better? How can I help this team be better? And he's been doing that. He's been following the best leaders. And what did the Mavericks need more than anything last season? On the court leadership. I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. When Jason Kidd has leaders on the court, he can be a good coach. When he doesn't, it looks like last year. And maybe leaders and talent are similar things. But I think he needs a leader on the court, and I think he's got that in Kyrie. And he's got it in Luka, who's stepping up this year too. But Kyrie stepping up and becoming the leader that he is right now, I think is the first thing that I look at to say, man, maybe missing the playoffs last year was better. Maybe the outcome this year for Kyrie is better than, let's say they make the playoffs and lose in the first. Let's say they get swept in the first round last year. Is that enough motivation for Kyrie to sit back and go, oh my God, I got to go home and rethink my life. I've been out here selling death sticks. I got to go home and rethink my life. Would that have been enough? Would if they lost in 5 games, let's say they play Denver in the first round or something, they'd sneak into the playoffs. They win a playing game and they feel good about it. Then we lost to Denver. We'll come back and we'll get more talent. We'll be better. Would that have been enough motivation for Kyrie Irving to go, man, I got to go back to the drawing board and take notes? There are NBA players that have admitted that they don't even watch the rest of the playoffs. Kyrie was sitting there taking notes like me, who doesn't know enough and has to take notes so that he can follow everything and make sure that he doesn't miss stuff. He's sitting there taking notes like a broadcaster, taking notes like a media member, trying to remember everything and learn stuff and everything. Kyrie Irving took last season's abject disaster of a season and learned from it, got better, and it has absolutely showed up this season. Everything he said in there, I have seen this season. Watched every single possession, watched every single game that they've played this season, followed it all, done shows on all of it. And Kyrie Irving stepped up in a huge way. He talked about guys that are really the backbone of their team. They do it in the little things that don't show up in the stat sheet for their teams to win. He's done those things this year. He's guarded players that he had no business guarding. He's run out in transition. He did that in game 1. He ran out in transition. Streaked out in transition. The oldest guy on the mound, playing for the Mavericks right now, was running out in transition. Doing the dirty work, grabbing rebounds. How many times have we talked about, man, Kyrie grabbed this insane rebound in this game? How many times have we talked about, oh, Kyrie got this wild steal? Kyrie Irving got a block at the rim. He got one in game 1. Kyrie stepping up in a big way, learning from last year's abject disaster, is one of the big reasons why the Mavericks are better off for missing the playoffs last year and overcorrecting this year and being much better than if they had just made the playoffs, got out in 4 games, or lost in 5. Another reason is what Kyrie said at the end of this. He said, then we had a crucial trade in the middle of the season where we got PJ and Gafford. Then from there, the sky's the limit. I think Nico Harrison being aggressive at the trade deadline and going after PJ Washington, going after Gafford, putting up draft picks for it. What did everybody say when those happened? Not me, but what did a bunch of other people say? Man, they gave up a lot. Man, they paid for the guys they got. Man, they overpaid. Man, they sent all these draft picks, and what did they get for it? Well, that's because it looked like a very aggressive move, and it was, and it proved to be an absolutely great move. Both moves have been great. A pick swap for Daniel Gafford and a future first-round pick for PJ Washington. You do that 10 times out of 10 now that you've seen the results. But Nico Harrison being aggressive, was that because of them missing the postseason last year? I absolutely think so. For him to go out there, to change the rotation, to go and make the move he made on draft night to get Omax, to go get Dante Exum from overseas, to take risks on Dante Exum, to take a risk on Derrick Jones Jr. on the minimum, to go after some of these guys, to take the risk on Grant Williams, realize it's not working, and then punt on it. He cannot sit back in his chair and go, you know what? I did a good job. He can do that now, but he couldn't at the beginning of the season or last offseason. And I think that was because they missed the playoffs. Would he have been as aggressive last season or this past season making moves if the Mavs had sneaked into the playoffs? Oh, man, we just need a couple more moves on the edges. He had to gut that team. He had to gut that team. If you've been on Twitter at all the last couple of weeks, you've probably seen the Timberwolves fan that posted the clip of, oh, this Mavs team doesn't move me. And it's a clip from last season when the Mavs played the Timberwolves last season. And it's the one where Luka and Kyrie are playing hot potato in crunch time, right? Where Luka passes to Kyrie, then Kyrie to Luka, then they back and forth, and the shot clock goes off. And he's like, this Mavs team doesn't move me. Love these guys. Mavs legend. But Reggie Bullock and Theo Pinson are on the court with Luka and Kyrie at the same time. So you're like, I don't know, man. This is a different Mavs team. And it's because Nico Harrison got aggressive, gutted the team, replaced it with stuff that actually works, and was aggressive. And I think that is one of the reasons why the Mavericks are better missing the postseason last year and coming back fresher and better this season. Coming up, let's talk about 2 other reasons. What Luka did and what Derrick Lively brings to the team. We'll talk about how those are better because those pieces are better because the Mavericks missed the postseason. Talk about that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. We know that small businesses have all kinds of different things that you need to worry about. So you don't want to have to worry about sorting through all the vast number of different hires. And if you want to get to like a select few and then interview them, then put the time in and the work in, then you want to know that you have those quality candidates you're actually putting the right time into. So LinkedIn knows that you have you want to make that process easier. They've launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It's a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals that'll help you sort through all those billion to get to the ones that actually help you. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. Again, that's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, they do apply. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me on the One More Thing from Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We'll continue to do the full episodes, but this is the One More Thing, the bonus episode that I wanted to do. The Mavericks are better off missing the postseason last year. It was one of the best things to happen to this version of the Mavericks. Because of Kyrie's leadership, he talked about it and said how he stepped up. Nico Harrison was more aggressive in the moves that he made. And Luka Doncic made moves too. Luka Doncic got aggressive with his body work. Luka Doncic hired a personal trainer. He hired a personal chef. He hired somebody else to work with him, an athletic trainer, somebody to work with him. He hired 3 people to come and work with him and got right with his body, what he needed to do. And now we're seeing it. He's fought through injuries this season. Do you think that could have happened if he was out of shape like he was last season at times? Do you think he could have fought through this knee sprain? Or do you think he would have overcorrected and hurt something else? Luka Doncic putting the extra time in, putting the extra work in, putting the priority on his body, his conditioning, being better, has absolutely made the Mavericks better. And the same argument I made for Nico and for Kyrie, I make for Luka. Would Luka have looked at last season if they snuck into the playoffs, beat the Nuggets for 1 game and lost in 5 or something like that, and go, we're almost there. Just need some more talent. And they put it off on somebody else. But instead, you had to look inward. He had to look inward and say, where can I be better? How can I be better for this team? Everyone had to do that. It was a very come-to-Jesus moment. When the Mavs lost that second game to the Hornets and then they tanked the last 2 games, I went, this is a come-to-Jesus moment for me. How can I be better as a podcaster, as somebody covering this team? Everyone did that. Whether it applied to you or when it came to me, definitely did not. But I feel like everyone did that. You probably did that as a Mavs fan. How can I support this team better? They need me. They need something. They need energy. Luka is better because the Mavericks missed the playoffs last year. And because Kyrie's leadership is better, Luka is better. It all works together. And because Nico Harrison made the moves, Luka is better. The last one is maybe one of my favorite developments of this season, though. Derrick Lively II, second team all-rookie, is not part of the Dallas Mavericks if the Mavericks don't miss the playoffs last year, tank the last 2 games, get some luck in the lottery, and end up with that pick. That first-round pick that got them Dereck Lively, they traded to get him. Another amazing draft night trade for the Mavericks. Dirk Nowitzki, Luka Doncic, and now Dereck Lively. But Dereck Lively said 2 things after Game 1 against the Timberwolves last night that really stood out to me. Dereck Lively's superpower is learning. And he's not on this team if the Mavericks don't miss the playoffs, but him coming into this team has made the Mavericks so much better because he learns on the fly so quickly. This is what he said about playing with doubles against Luka and Kyrie, and what he's learned this season about playing with Luka and Kyrie when they get doubled. Quote, I would definitely say just finding the right position, finding the right angle, just being able to try to, to be able to have Luka and to see we can get the ball to you, and then just slowing down. Whenever I rush, I did it at the end of the 4th quarter, it's a turnover. But when I slow down, take my time, read the play, I try to find the right pass, I try to find the right way to get a bucket, but it just comes with a lot of reps, a lot of failure, and being able to get this far. He has taken every single thing that this coaching staff has given him, taken everything that Luka and Kyrie have given him, taken everything the game has given him, and learned from it. That was one of the first things I noticed about him. If he played a player one time and got beat by them, he learned the second time. Who did Dereck Lively play at the very beginning of his NBA career? Go all the way back to preseason. It was not in this country. I'll give you that hint. They played the Timberwolves in Abu Dhabi, and he got destroyed by Gobert. Gobert got a huge dunk on him, and Lively learned from that. And Lively was very good against Gobert in Game 1. The Mavericks are a better team because they missed the playoffs. They got Lively, and now he can learn on the fly. So even when Gafford is struggling at times, Lively can come in, and he's been great because of his superpower, and that's learning, and that is him being better than he was the day before. And I hope that never stops. I hope he continues that. And I hope that Tyson Chandler continues to teach him everything he knows. And I hope that he continues to go through that because, man, having Dereck Lively on this team has been absolutely amazing to watch him and to see what he does and to see how he reacts to the problems that are handed to him and how he learns. He rarely makes the same mistake twice. And him playing out of the short roll, playing out of, those double teams on Luka and Kyrie has been a huge positive for the Mavericks. Amazing. Amazing for him. I'll borrow Luka's word for a second. Amazing. The other thing on Dereck Lively, he talked about his journey, and I talked about his superpower is learning, and he talked about it. He said, just like whenever I look back on this long season, I remember myself in Abu Dhabi, and I just remember just how I felt on the floor, how I viewed the floor, and how I viewed everything going on, and just being more comfortable with myself, just trusting what I could do, trusting my teammates behind me, and trusting our game plan. And there's a lot of things on the floor that you can't game plan for. You can't scout. You've got to be able to react and just be able to step out and step up to the plate. That right there. Dereck Lively's superpower, being able to learn and adapt quickly, has helped him in the playoffs. Because you got to learn quick. There is no time. We talk about adjustments within games. How about adjustment game to game in the playoffs when every possession matters? And Lively has learned to take what is given to him, to take what the coaching staff is giving to him, and apply it instantly. His superpower has made the Mavericks better. The Mavs missed the postseason and got Dereck Lively to begin with. They're better off because of it, and they're much better off than they would have been before. It's wild. It's wild that the Mavericks missing the playoffs is one of the best things that's happened to them. But hey, here we are. They've won game 1 against the Timberwolves. Got a chance to go up 2-0. Even if they tie, they still got a chance to win the series for sure. Dereck Lively has made them better. Luka Doncic making his offseason body work a priority made them better. Nico Harrison being more aggressive has been better. And Kyrie Irving stepping up and becoming a leader this season has made the Mavericks better. And that's why I think the Mavs missing the postseason was one of the best things that ever happened to this version of the Mavericks. That's one more thing. Thanks for hanging out with me on Locked On Mavs. We'll be back with more of the postgame with me and Slightly and all that. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out.